good Wednesday morning, everyone. And how's your year going so far? Well, it's too early to tell, probably. But if you're walking it with Jesus, you're going to have a good year, no matter what the circumstances. And that's why for these 4 days, January 2nd, Tuesday through this Friday, we're looking at one of the most profound sections of Scripture in the Bible. I can easily say that. The John chapter 1, between 1 and verse 18. If you get these 18 verses down as a part of your heart, you have a solid theology on who Jesus was and is and what he's done. And we're going to come right now to what he has done, and it's amazing. We come to verse 3. We'd already established in verses 1 and 2 that he is God, who was in the before the beginning. The beginning began with God, didn't it? And God was Jesus. Verse 3, through him, all things, get the word all things, were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. That really brings it home, doesn't it? That it was Jesus through whom God created all things. And of course, I know you've probably heard preachers say, what's that word all mean? And we all kind of laugh. It means all things. You look around and everything you see, from the beauty like behind me, flowers and trees, to buildings, to the oceans, to the deserts, to a watch. You say, well, Jesus didn't create the watch. Well, he created the minerals and the metals and plastics or anything else that go into that watch. He created those things. Now he gave man a creative side, and mankind has used those elements that Jesus put here on earth, which he created. He allowed mankind to create things. Dead things, obviously. Inanimate is a better word, right? But nevertheless, even the creativity that we show comes from God. We are made in his likeness, and he created all things. And if we didn't get it from that, he even says, without him, nothing was made. So he says the positive, all things created, and the negative, nothing else was created other than what Jesus created. But it also goes on. Verse 4, it says, in him was life, and that life was the light of men. Let me ask you this. You ever play with Logos? Actually, in my youth, I played with Lincoln Logs. You remember Lincoln Logs? I love those things, the way they fit together. And boy, I felt so creative that I could build a house. I could build a house. My grandkids still play with Legos, and they love creating things. And I remember when I was a kid, we'd even take those little plastic green soldiers, and other people might have played with dolls, and put those things in the houses that I made from the Lincoln Logs. But here's the thing. When I did all those things, they just laid there. They didn't move. And you know why? There was no life to them. Now, I kind of moved them around, and I don't know if you did that. I'm sure you did, actually. We try to bring to life these little dolls, or in my case, I would line the soldiers up, and some would be inside the house and others outside, and pretend shoot at each other. That's the little boy that I had in me. But they would really, unless I moved them, they never moved. But here's verse 4. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. It's Jesus who gave mankind and animal kind life. Life. Nothing else. Life didn't come from anywhere else. It takes life to create life, and it takes God to create life. It wasn't lightning hitting I've heard of a marshland, and it brought the first amoebas to life. Friends, what's your experience with lightning? Well, hopefully none. But you know that if it hits people or anything else, what? It kills. I was standing by a tree once that got hit with lightning, and it literally exploded. And then the remains of that tree were on fire. But it certainly did not bring anything to life. So that theory that it just lightning hit it and then life started, and by the way, that life got bigger and better and turned into man. That is foolishness, to use the word of Proverbs, foolishness. It just doesn't happen that way. And now mankind, with all their supercomputers and artificial intelligence, anything else that they try, they can't make one little thing happen. They can't make 2 cells that are alive, let alone the complexity of mankind with DNA and other intricacies of mankind. Darwin, if he had understood the human eye alone, would have never said that this could happen by evolution, let alone DNA. No, Jesus brought life to inanimate. He created mankind from the dust, which was just laying there and would have just laid there. But Jesus created mankind, and from man, he created woman. Absolutely amazing. At least now you know where. And John wanted that from right at the start of his gospel, to be clear where life came from. And then he talks about he says the light of men, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not understood it. See, he's actually talking about into the darkness. The world was dark, and he brings the light of the gospel. He brings the light of God to mankind. There's physical life he's referring to, and spiritual life. And the spiritual life happens when we step into the light by giving our hearts to Jesus. He calls it born again in John chapter 3, and he'll do in much more detail in John 3. But for right now, all you need to know is that he brought human life, or life, to all the earth, from trees to single cells to fish to birds. Jesus brought the life. And we have that kind of life. But he also says that he's shown his light into the darkness. He brings spiritual life too, and makes the light available to us all. It's a dark, sinful world, and the world didn't understand it. But we understand it if you've stepped into the light with your life. And that life that brings light is Jesus, the Son of God, the Son of God. What a way to start this year. I'm loving this. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to continue on. We'll finish all these verses this week. That's my promise to you. You're going to be better for it to understand the theology of God. God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give